What's going on, Sydney? Having fun?
Yeah.
Right.
Now, many of them will know you from the voice of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yep.
And also the voice of Knuckles the Echidna.
That's right, yeah.
Any lovers of Knuckles?
Thank you.
That's not normally a question I'll ever ask again.
He was kind of a jerk, but thank you.
I also found out that you're also Hudson Horstachio.
That's correct.
From Viva Pinata.
Yes, it's true.
How awesome is that?
Oh, being Hudson Horstachio is awesome. It's only awesome. People say I'm somewhat self-centered, but if you were me for a day, you'd understand.
Ladies and gentlemen, is he awesome? I met this man, what, 5-6 years ago?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And since then, I've met him a number of other times, and he continues to be the sexiest voice actor around.
Oh, don't stop.
No, I won't. See, she agrees.
I love you back!
Now, what else are we going to be talking about over the course of the weekend? If we've been talking about Knuckles, we've been talking about Yu-Gi-Oh!
Right.
What other things will we be talking about that you've been doing?
Well, I've done a lot of directing stuff and some producing stuff and some audiobook stuff, so that's all fair game. I've also been helping people who want to get into voiceover work and specifically animation work do that by learning some of the basic things that you need to be able to do. So I'm all up about talking for that stuff, kind of, whatever people want to, learn, get to know.
Anyone who wants to be in animation out there?
Yeah, it's way better than a real job.
It is. Ladies and gentlemen, please, I'm sorry to have to cut it short, but please put your hands together and thank Dan the Man Green! It's time to film! Yeah, you can have...
Well, that's quite an offer. I don't know what my wife would have to say about that. Oh, yes, I do. No way. That's good. All right. How's everybody doing? Right. How many of you have already come by my table where I've been signing stuff? Yeah? All right. And for those of you that I didn't get to before the lunch break, please come by right away because I'm so sorry that didn't happen for you. I know you were waiting for a long time. All right? And if anybody else wants to get there before the end of the day, I promise I'll do my best to make sure you get what you want. So, I'm wondering if some of you have some questions. Yes? Right here?
Alright. How can you say Kaib is my bitch in Yugi's voice? Like, not
well,
yummy.
obviously you're best known for Yu-Gi-Oh, but you've done other shows as well, such as Pokemon has had 1 million characters and you've done a lot of them. Which one of those would be your favorites?
I think literally 1 million is actually, yeah, that's right.
Billion.
I get a few of those kinds of questions, and it's really hard. Like, the most interesting one was one of the most, the earliest ones was Entei from Pokemon 3. And that kind of voice was something that I think 4Kids liked me to do a lot. I took over from U2 after a while, doing the same kind of thing. But that was great because it was actually a story that you could invest in emotionally, whereas some other kinds of stories are less emotionally based, right? But, wanting to care for this child was, something that any person can, put themselves into in terms of mindset. Entei was great, but I also really like doing the voice of Trico because it was so different than, this kind of, hi, I'm doing this, blah, 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 right? Right. And what's great about doing the Pokemon creatures is that all you can play is the intention, right? The words make no sense, right? So that's actually, any of you who are looking into doing voiceover kinds of things, that's a really good skill to try to develop. Like, what are you saying when you're not really saying anything, right? What's the emotion? What do you want from that? So, good question. Anybody else? Yeah. Which one? I'm gonna make you run as round. Okay, and the next person, be over there. Next person.
You've probably had this question about 1,000 times, but I was just wondering what your thoughts were on Little Karibo's every series.
I love Karibo. I mean, what can you say? But I have to say I haven't seen it all, so I hope that's not too much. I'll walk off the stage. What's that? Yeah, well, that wouldn't be the first time, let me tell you. Now I know where my responsibility lies. Yeah, but I've seen a lot of well, a lot meaning a few, in comparison to what you've seen. But I think the abridged series is really funny. I think those guys are so clever because when you look at a show like Yu-Gi-Oh, there are a couple things you can make fun of, right? With all due respect, there are some things that don't exactly make sense. And I think there was one I watched where, yeah, who cares about friendship, right? That's so dumb. Take what you can get from people and move on. That's the real point. But I also like, there was, I forget exactly what it was, but he cut together all these things about, just Yami always being angry, and it's just like, I think this guy has some anger issues. It's like, believe me, I know what you mean. And, going in the booth, and they're like, okay, now, we want you to, this is really important now. You gotta really define this. And I'm like, okay, so you want me to yell? Is that basically it? Like, I'm really mad? Okay, let's do that again. Exodia, obliterate! Okay, is that what you want? Happy to do it, right? But I also really like those moments where Yami was just, being warm and sensitive and, you did well. Always believe in the heart of the cards. Did you guys see Bombs Beyond Time? Okay, wait. You have to hear that from my perspective. That sounded like, yeah, so what are you here? Well, here now. Some of you have, and some of you haven't, I guess. But anyway, I bring that up because it had a nice balance of those elements, some more personal moments and some big action moments. So, another question. Ready?
Hi, Dan Green.
Hello.
I got a question for you. It's also from a friend. We want to know if what did it feel like talking to yourself when you played both Little Yugi and Yami Yugi at the same time?
That's a good question. Fortunately, I'm psychotic, so not a big stretch for me. But no, it was really fun. And when we would record the sessions, we discovered early on that the easiest way to do it would be for me to do one character first, and then move on to the other. And it was easier for me to go from Yugi to Yami, right? And you treat it like any other scene as an actor. You do the best with the material you have. And so then I would record Yugi, and then I would go in and record Yami. Then as Yami, I'd be like, who's this guy doing Yugi? He sucks. But I got through it after all those years. But yeah. But you approach it like you would any other scene, Yeah.
What was the weirdest line you've ever had to say in your whole entire career as a voice actor?
Oh my gosh, I think I blanked those out. There was something really absurd. What's that? Thank you for that comment. You know what, I don't remember the most absurd thing, but there were a lot to choose from. I think, what's that? Choose one? I don't know. I can't, actually, without insulting anybody who's really into the game, sometimes when we were in the midst of dueling, and we would, toward the end of the episode, and then Yami, he's up against the wall, right? And then he pulls out some card, that was never used that way before, and like the villain would always say, where did that come from? And it's like, I jokingly developed this term for that card with the director Eric Stewart. Like, this is my pull it out of my butt card in attack mode. And this card allows me to do blah, 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 blah after blah, 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 because your card went blah, 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 blah 5 minutes ago, and then blah, 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 I blah, blah, blah you back.
God, he is Yugi.
Again, the importance of intentions. Let's see, we got somebody like in the, yeah, you, way over there. You deserve attention too.
Hey Dan, it's great to see you back here again in Sydney.
Thank you so much, good to be back.
I wanted to ask you what your opinion was of the, how was it?
There are children present.
What can I get your thoughts on the second Yu-Gi-Oh movie where where Yugi teamed up with Yusei Fudo and Jaden Yuki?
I really enjoyed it. Both recording it, and I mentioned this to somebody that came by for an autograph, but I hadn't done the characters in years, and getting back into the booth again and getting back into the mode, it was like reacquainting with old friends. It's like, oh, I know this guy, that's awesome. But when we're dubbing, we don't record at the same time. So we're all doing it in isolation. But then when I went to the premiere and I saw everything come together, I thought it was great, and I thought the fans really liked it too. And I thought that movie, although being kind of short, really moved along and was really, really interesting. I mean, everybody across the board I thought was awesome. Me, a little bit more so. Kidding. Who else? Yeah, the man right behind you. I'll make it easy on you this time, too.
First, here's my invisible gun. Bang.
What was that for? You want to kill me and take my place?
That would be nice, actually. I am.
For you?
All right. Now then, a couple of questions. My first one, yeah. All right. I'll limit it. Not. Seriously, though. Have you heard of Final Fantasy?
Oh, of course, yeah.
If you were, who would you be? Which Final Fantasy character?
Well,
would
let me clarify. I've heard of Final Fantasy. I don't play Final Fantasy. The Final Fantasy I know is like when they would make, a movie here and there, right? Not the first movie with like Alec Baldwin and all those guys. But so I can't say, that, oh yeah, I want to play that guy. But let me ask you a question. Who would you want me to play? Because you obviously know all about this.
I've actually got a top 3.
Nice!
Number 3.
All right.
Who here remembers Final Fantasy 8? Who here reckons that he could be the best Irvine?
No? Okay.
No.
I guess I won't be doing that one.
All right, fine. Number 2, Sephiroth. Or Sephiroth, as they say now. Definitely.
Yeah.
And number 1, what was that guy's name from? If anyone here remembers Final Fantasy 9, Steiner.
Steiner? No? You may think about your career as a casting agent. I don't know. Maybe reconsider, because I guess nobody really liked those things. But I would love to do something like Final Fantasy-wise. That would be awesome.
I know, Dan. You could be my Final Fantasy.
Hello. Innuendo. Okay, right over here. Yep, right there.
Cons like this.
Yeah.
You get a lot of proposals and propositions from fangirls. Also guys, apparently.
Proposals of what kind?
Hey, I just did. Anyway.
That's right. But you're not a fangirl, that's true. I think I do a good enough job of radiating the "it's never gonna happen" thing. Not because, I'm a jerk, but I am married. So that would be a little weird. But I'm always flattered by whatever attention I get, even if it might be a little inappropriate. I'm just kidding. Let's see. Yeah, this girl right over here with the blue cap on.
Can you actually just say one line from that bridge series of Little Karibo? Yami?
Sure, what's the line?
I don't know, just pick any if you remember.
Okay, I'll do it. Mind Crush. Right, ready? I know there's not 2 of them. Oh, okay. Now I got you. Okay, ready? Mind Crush in stereo mode. Great. The series is okay. Now you next. I promised her a question. How you guys doing over there? You all right?
Hi.
All right.
Hi. You know the questions that has been asked about the 10th anniversary movie?
Right.
I was wondering, will it ever be coming here to Australia in theatres, because it hasn't been proposed yet?
Okay.
And also, if it is, why or why not is it coming here?
Right. I don't actually get to be involved in those kinds of decisions. My understanding is that, well, it first of all had a very limited release in the States. Very, very few theaters for a very short period of time. So the likelihood of them staging that again in Australia, I think, is pretty low, just because they weren't sure how many people would show up. It's been a while since. But I actually am in communication with somebody at Konami who owns, obviously Yu-Gi-Oh. So maybe I'll mention to them that if they were to do some limited run in Australia, that they may be pleasantly surprised by how many people show up. But I don't obviously make those decisions. Yeah. Can I promise that I'll have that conversation? Yes, I will be in communication with them in the next couple of weeks anyway, so I'll definitely bring that up. Now let's get somebody from over here. You in the pigtails.